Welcome back to my kitchen. Summer is upon us, and I couldn't be happier because summer is a very special time in our household. The kids are out of school and the weather is absolutely terrific. We can actually slow down a little bit, which also means for mom, I get to scale back a little bit on cooking, which it doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna do a lot of DoorDash and takeout. It just means that I'm gonna prepare much simpler dinners that are fuss-free and easy to make. And today I'm gonna be sharing one with you, and it's called Sopes. And Sopes literally is this little shell. It's made out of masa, and once you toast it in the oven or you can fry it a little bit, it's delicious. You add whatever you like in it, beans, cheese, turkey, chicken, but today I'm gonna be using something really great. It's ground beef. I have an extra lean ground beef and I'm gonna add some chorizo to it. So I'm gonna actually combine these two together, and it's gonna be such a delicious, delicious add to my sopes today. But what I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna be adding some lettuce, and I'm gonna add a little bit of cilantro as garnish, some tomato as garnish, and maybe some cheese. And for the topping, I have some Cotijo cheese, and I also have some Mexican crema, which is delicious. It's like, Mexican crema is like a Mexican sour cream. I'm sure most of you know that, but for the people that didn't, that's what it is. Oh, and mostly, refried beans. We add this as a base, and you can take it or you can leave it. I like to take it. I think it's delicious with the beans. So let's get cooking. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do first is I'm gonna prepare some of these fresh ingredients so they're ready to go. Oh, but first, let me put my sopes into the oven to brown just a little bit. What I have done here is I have actually lightly put some extra virgin olive oil lightly on all these. So as I'm preparing the rest of the ingredients, these will be toasting in the oven and they'll be absolutely delicious. And these will be in the oven at 350 for about 10-15 minutes. Okay, so next I'm gonna go ahead and get chopping here. So let's get some of the cilantro. Love cilantro, smells so good. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of this up, and you can cut it as tiny or as big. You decide how much cilantro. I love cilantro, so I'm gonna cut a lot. Some people don't like it, some people don't like the smell of it, but that's okay. You don't have to put it on, you can leave it off. And next, I'm gonna go ahead and dice up my tomato. So I'm gonna coarsely cut these into chunks, and I will go ahead and add these to the tops of my sopes as well. And of course, some of my family members, and I'm sure some of yours like tomatoes, some of them don't. So it's completely up to you what you wanna put on top of your sopes. So that's enough right here. Tomatoes are done. I'll put them right here. Okay. And next, I'm going to go ahead and open up my beans. And I like to use this. I love Rosarita. I love their traditional refried beans, as well as Amy's. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up my beans, and I'm gonna go ahead and get these simmering on the stovetop. So I currently have my sopes in the oven, and they are toasting. Not too toasty, they just want them a little bit brown on the edges. Put this aside. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put my beans into the pot, and I'm gonna get these on a low simmer while my sopes are in the oven, and they're gonna be lightly browned. And then I'm gonna go ahead, and once these are on the stovetop, this is actually how many ounces is this? Okay, so I have approximately 14 ounces of beans. That's a lot of beans, but I like to store it into my fridge, and tomorrow we can actually make some burritos with these, or whatever, you know, nachos, something. But these are easily recyclable into a different meal tomorrow. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these on the stove and get them simmering. Next, I'm gonna go ahead and get my ground beef and my chorizo, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of mix them together before I start cooking them in my pan. So it has kind of an even amount of chorizo flavoring with my beef. And just so you know, I did get a really, really lean beef. And so the reason I did that was because the chorizo has, it's kind of oily. So you're gonna make up with the chorizo in that department. So you get it just enough here where it's combined completely. Okay, and I think that's just about good there. Wipe my hands down, and now we're gonna go ahead and put this in the pan. I'll meet you over there in a sec. Okay, so my pan is plenty hot, and I'm gonna go ahead and add my beef and chorizo mixture. Here goes nothing. That smells so good. The chorizo and the beef, it just has such a delicious aroma. It's just nothing that you've smelled before. It just is so yummy smelling. And what you do is you want to basically cook it like you're cooking ground beef for tacos. You want it to get small in size like that. And so it'll take a little bit to do. So I'm going to go ahead for this amount of meat. So I'm going to go ahead and just let this cook for a little bit. And then I have my beans here on the stove, which are simmering gently. And those should be, oh, they are actually starting to bubble. Looks great. Okay, so your meat should look like this when it's almost done. It's delicious. The aroma is amazing. It's, again, I combined a stick of pork chorizo with about 2.5 pounds of really lean ground beef. And the reason why I chose the really lean again is because the chorizo has quite a bit of oil. So you want to try to reduce the oil where you can. So this is just about done. Looks good. So I'm going to turn off my flame for that. And we will now assemble. Oh, there's my sopes. They are done. So this is what they should look like. Honest, I did 350 lightly olive oiled around the edges for 20 minutes. Okay, so time for the fun part. It's assembly time. I have my sopes right out of the oven. I did 350 for 20 minutes. And I used 2.5 pounds of ground beef, really lean, and I mixed it with some chorizo, pork chorizo. I have some beans, and I did about, I think I said 14 ounces of beans, so we can use a little bit tomorrow. So let's do this. Let's get a little bit of beans, just a little bit, and then you get a little bit of the meat, just a little bit. That's the beauty of these, is you do just a little bit of meat, or a lot, depending on your appetite. My hands are clean. I've washed them at least 3 or 4 times in the midst of creating this video, so just in case you're wondering. And so next I'm going to put a little bit of the greens on there. You decide if you want greens or not. I'll put a little bit of cilantro, and I will put a tomato, and I'm going to next put a little bit of this Cotijo cheese on there. Love it. It's a Mexican cheese. So delicious. And next I'm going to use some Mexican crema. Very yummy. Just a little dollop. What's nice about this is it drizzles. It's not like our traditional sour cream, but this has a nice drizzle to it. And maybe just a little bit of cheese to set it off. Perfect. This smells so good. I cannot wait to eat it. But again, this is what it looks like. Simple, easy, and all in less than 20 minutes. Done. Easy peasy. You can do it too. I will put the directions and the instructions in the description box below. Okay, so after your nice, delicious meal that you've prepared for your family, one of my kids' favorite things is a pan dulce. These are called conchas or conchitas. Conchitas are typically the smaller ones. The conchas are large, and these are the things that my kids like to eat. Not all the time, but sometimes as a treat, and tonight we're gonna have these after we eat our sopes. So give it a try. You might like them. They're not super sweet, and they're flaky, and they're delicious, and I think you'll love them. Okay, so what I've decided to pair with this delicious sopes is a margarita, a very traditional margarita. And so what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and squeeze some fresh lime juice, and we'll start with that. Oops, I think I did this backwards. Turn it around. I need to fill this little measuring device up, and then I need one of these of lime juice, which is typically, oh, that one's juicy. Typically a lime and a half will be good. usually fills this up. Actually, I take it back. It looks like we're gonna have 2 full limes that will fill this up. Perfect. There you go. One of these. Oops, sorry for the splash. And one of these. And you fill the same side up to the top. Fresh lime juice and fresh Patron. Perfect. So we did one of these, filled to the top. It was 2 full limes I squeezed, fresh lime juice, and one of these of our delicious Patron. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and give it a little stir. And then I'm gonna add one of my delicious, not delicious, but cold. I'm gonna add one of my cold ice balls to the mix. And voila, you have your delicious sopas and you have your margarita. And once again, here's to tasting food and margaritas.